Yes, hello and welcome to Orlean Championships Day 2, just around the corner. What a week it was. Louisville will be live from Bronte Beach, of all places. I can't fathom it, but Louis, I don't know how you do it. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good day, gents. It's just the problem was I couldn't, in good faith, on what could be the last warm day we have for a long time, daylight savings. I couldn't, in good faith, sit home. So I
Yeah.
said, I'll write some notes down on my phone. I'll come down to the beach, I'll have a swim, I'll get on Zoom on the phone. You know what? The funny thing is, it's probably the best connection I've had all season. So there's a positive in it for us, boys. But day 2 of the champs coming up, it's going to be good.
We can also say there's no rain about in Sydney. Looking at that blue sky behind you, so that is not fake news. That is real live pictures from the eastern suburbs. Speaking of the eastern suburbs, a man that made his way up to Randwick on the weekend, dominating all the social scene of day 1 of the championships. DeanWatling.com. How are you?
I'm good. It was good to be out there, boys. I haven't been on track for a while. Crowd was a little bit, thought it'd be bigger day 1, but it was still a good crowd. It was a punting crowd. You could tell the difference between it and a couple of other meetings you've been to. But no, it's good to be back, boys. Day 2, Queen Elizabeth Stakes, a couple of other nice little races, and it's good to see Lou. Hey, checking out a couple of properties after this too, Lou, down there, Bronte, on the beach there.
Please. I only look at them as I go past on the bus, boys. Don't worry about that.
Too good. Gatto might look there.
Yeah, he's next in line. Beach house, holiday house.
Yeah, just the holiday house. That's just keep it civil.
The weekender.
Yeah, something to do. What'd you make of the weekend, Dino? The racing, not the marquees, the racing.
The racing was good. I thought the track played really, really well. I think we all knew it was going to be off inside early, but then it dried out through the day. It was a hot day out there. And then the inside sort of quickened up somewhat. I think Vinrock maybe showed that it was sort of drying out. I don't think you want to be hard fans. Jolly Starbackers would have been in all sorts. There's a couple of hard luck stories, couple of good stories, couple of things that I wanted to know, boys. Steffi Magnetica, if you saw her in the yard, you could not have a penny on her. Her coat has not come through, and I'm nowhere near a yard watcher, but I don't know what they're going to do with her if they're going to put her straight in the paddock. I'm not quite sure she's 100%, but her winning that race looking like that, I think for the spring, she's still got 2-3 lengths to give off that. And the second point I wanted to make is I'm a little bit worried about the 2-year-olds. They ran a second slower than the country championship race off near identical splits to the 600. Last year, similar setup, Manal, they sort of did the same sort of time, a second slower, so that was a concern there. That's what sort of took out of the weekend going.
Do you think, given it was a similar pattern to last year, is it that much of a concern? Like the country championships, I think we can probably disrespect a little bit.
Yeah.
They're not bad horses, and they're 3, 4, 5-year-olds going around. Do you think that the country championships is a fair measuring stick? Maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, Manal won it last year, the size, and they that group hasn't somewhat not kicked on, you could sort of suggest. Coleman, Traffic Water in that bunch, I think they ran second or third in that race, and they haven't really kicked on. I think we got some really nice 3-year-olds out of that crop last year. This year, we don't know. They can come back and be bigger, better, stronger 3-year-olds. But just as a 2-year-old crop at the moment, I think they're a little bit below par, boys. That's sort of what I took out of the weekend.
Do you think we're in a moment in time here where, data has become, we've become so focused on data, everything's data-driven these days. And because there's so much data now readily available and that's where our focus is, that where we have an obsession with this crop isn't good as good as the last crop, as good as the last crop, because it seems like we've had this conversation so often. Almost feels like whether it's been 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds for the last 3 years, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Do you get the same feeling? I just feel like we've had the conversation all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an obsession with them getting worse. I think all the data is just a way to quantifiably say that they aren't as good as previous crops. I get what you mean. It's a little weird that the last 2 years, you're right, we've had this conversation 2-3 years. So what does that mean? Are they just getting slower, or are we just in a little bit of a downturn?
Or have they got better at doing their ratings, Lou, and maybe the ratings profiles have changed and they've become more efficient with their ratings as to what they were 6 years ago? I'm just asking the question. I have no idea.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's tricky. If you were to say that the way the ratings have been done or the way that they go back and rate previous winners is the same, then the answer is that we just are in a downturn. But you're right, there's so much more available now that maybe ratings become a little more finicky or spot on than they were if you had to go back and rate how a horse went in a size 10 years ago. I don't know.
Well, I don't think they change. I don't necessarily. You wouldn't know, right? You'd have to have a conversation with Dan O'Sullivan or Vince Accardia, those guys that are coming up with the raw figures and have a conversation as to if they've changed anything. I can't imagine they would, because they'd probably do it retrospectively on everything. But Dino, you see tracks playing far differently. Track ratings have changed. We're rating tracks to the worst. Sometimes the times are far better. Sometimes they're far worse than the ratings that are being thrown up as well. Like maybe the watering of tracks has played its part. I just find it hard to believe over the last 3 or 4 years that we've just permanently had bad crops of horses. You know what I mean? There's a pattern starting to emerge. I think that's the point. Maybe we just got to reverse engineer that and go, oh, hang on, why is it? And it may not be the ratings, but it might just purely be a case of there's a couple of reasings behind it. Dana, we talked about the 3-year-olds being weak for a while last year, right? There was we had a big chat about that for ages.
Yeah, and I think it has been maybe just 3 bad years on the trot, somewhat. I think the girls are holding it together. They've been terrific. I think we've seen some really nice fillies. I don't know if it's the stud landscape or what it is, but the boys, we haven't really seen a strong 2-year-old turned 3-year-old that kicks on spring, then sort of to the autumn. We've seen that
2-year-old that came through that had a strong. Was it Militarized? Kind of like, when was the last
2-year-old? Yeah,
he went to start off a bad autumn. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think the last one maybe was Animo that sort of kicked on the whole way through. But behind that,
and he was a freak. Like, was our expectations just a little too high post Animo?
I'm not sure. Like before that, we sort of had that year that was the yes sort of that sort of year, bivouac sort of years when they were beating the older horse, and that's always the measuring line. The fillies, I think they're fine. I think it's just the colts. Like you think about this year, like who's the best 3-year-old spring colt? Private Harry's probably the best now, and he didn't do anything at 2. So you sort of can't put him in that crop. And then you look back and it's probably Switzerland, and then I think it's a big gap to Growing Empire, Traffic Warden, and that's pretty much
huge gap, 3-year-old enormous gap.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what it is, boys. Is it people, and is it the change of landscape in regards to prize money? Is people not pushing their horses at 2, therefore we're not having these strong crops, and they're waiting for 3, 4, 5-year-olds? I think the numbers end on end. I read a stat a couple of weeks ago. The numbers of 2-year-old starters is getting less and less every year. Is that? Yeah, it's interesting. The point that I wanted to sort of make out of it is don't be scared to back a horse off the trials, or one that comes maybe out of a different form line in these 2-year-old races moving forward. I think we saw Nepotism nearly win a Todman on debut and then towel them up the other week. There was a really smart win in the first at Caulfield on the weekend for the Hayes boys. Like they bring that up to Sydney. That's sort of the point. And Vinrock's another example. He comes up out of a different form line and sort of beats the horses in Sydney. So punting wise, I think we can just back your judgment in the sense if you like something off the trials or who maybe hasn't gone through the group races, they can actually turn up and beat these horses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the point that take out of all that is we haven't probably had a standout, and we probably desperately wanted like an outlier. Wadton probably was a lip away and then given us like a 3-wide, fast speed, no cover, horror, unfortunately, for that horse. Could have been it, and Stormboy probably just didn't quite live up to the hype post Magic Million. So it is interesting, isn't it, lads? But even racing is good. It's good for punting, and and I really enjoy it. Speaking about punting, there's not many even races on Saturday. Going on here, Queen Elizabeth Stakes, odds courtesy of Tab. Remember what you could be buying instead, and what you are gambling with. Gamble responsibly, please. Via Sistina, $1.70. Dubai Honor, $5. That's too big a price difference for mine. Charwolf, $9. Buckaroo, 15s. Light Infantryman, 15s. Not sure if these horses are all confirmed to go there. Rusham Park, Vauban, $17 to $9.26. And longer the rest. Dino, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes for 2025.
Yeah, well, you make the point, Trev, at the top. And I think anyone looking at that market, the gap between Dubai Honor and Via Sistina is ridiculous, isn't it? That was a proper win. First up, bog track, 2,400. Back to 2,000 metres. That's been the setup the whole time. Willie Haggis just keeps getting underrated. Someone posted his stats the other day in Australia. He's
just don't back him midweek at Warwick Farm.
Exactly. He's really good at what he says. I watched an interview back in when he was back in the UK, and he sort of had queries about Desert Hero as well. Wasn't sure how that's going, but he was happy with Dubai Honor. I think at the price, you have to bet Dubai Honor in this. I think we'll probably get a better price via Sustina on Saturday. Chow Wolf, he's an intriguing one. He just needs I think he just needs a hot tempo. That's him at his best. He won the King Charles off a brutal tempo, and his best of him was there. 2,000 meters question mark, but Louis, I just think Dubai Honor $5 is a cracking bet. You're nearly getting the same price as via Sustina, a winner place on Dubai Honor.
Yeah, I think something has to go seriously wrong for it to start equal to or longer than $5 on Saturday. So I can only agree with that. And via Sistina has to get out a little bit if Dubai Honor firms. The two I was keen to maybe have a go at a place, a Buckaroo and Light Infantryman. So Buckaroo, you look at it's going to come in here second up to a grand final, but it's kind of the good strat for it. So watch its effort in the George Ryder. It was back, and then it got tight for him in the straights behind Gringotts, who went off near favourite in that Doncaster. So that's going to be okay form. Won a Chelmsford Stakes, second up. Ran via Sistina to a neck in the Turnbull at 2,000 metres. Was third this time last year in a Randwick, so last autumn, off a pretty similar run first up in the Apollo that year. So I just think second up Buckaroo is a really good play for it to be hitting this in good form. And it's had that little tick-over trial since the George Ryder. And Light Infantryman, that Australia Cup win was so strong, and I was looking at Dan O'Sul's ratings, and it's gone, let's call it equal to via Sistina's latest win. So I just think that at the prices they are, I think, $15 and $3.80, $3.90, $4, whatever it is a place, I would rather back them a place than back Chilwolf a place. I understand Dino's point that it's going to get a hotter tempo, and I just can't get into it, this preparation. It's been backwards, forwards, up, down, a good win. It wasn't good visually to the eye when winning, but apparently that had a lot of merit in the way that the day was playing, etc. So I just can't get into it, and it's much shorter a place than these two. So,
what kind of merit did it have, Louis? I didn't find a whole lot.
So I think the merit was that it was up on speed, strong tempo, and away from the rail on a day where the rail was a big advantage in run. That's what I heard. I don't know. I haven't personally reviewed the meeting.
I think it was a sit sprint.
Okay, right. So slow tempo, away from the rail when it wants fast tempo and a non-rail bias. So I think just what people were saying is there's a little bit more merit than it just kind of falling in after looking like it had the best run of the race. But really, that is what it looked. But that's it. That is what it looked like, though, right? Like, really, if you're going to be competitive in this, you got to be putting that field away by a little more. So
kind of is what it was, isn't it? Really, like it's what it looked like at what it is, and then you got to factor in the elements that are suggested. Interesting.
So anyway, that's how I kind of saw it.
Dino?
Yeah, I just want to touch on the speed in this race too. So prior to Jenny looking at Travis' article, Private Jenny's nominated for this race. So is Lindemann, so is Denial Knowledge. So Private Jenny's obviously nominated for the Queen of the Turf Stakes as well on the same day, 16 or 1,500 metres. Yep. So interesting to see which way they go. But we should get a better tempo here is what I'm trying to get at. Tom Kitten's obviously nominated as well. This is a really, really good race. And I thought Vauban also, I thought he was off to the paddock or the Sydney Cup, but he's in the nominations too. So I'd suggest Timmy Clark will be a lot more prominent on that horse here, Gano. I know he got a long way back last start in the Tancred, and I think they'll want to be up on speed in this race. So what we're getting at is I think we should get a truly run 2,000-metre race and the best horse at that distance. If you do like Chow Wolf, you're probably going to get the right setup. But in saying that, you're going to give the likes of Via Sistina and a couple of others the better setup anyway as well, Gano.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, it's a really interesting race. Off just to the eye and off the figures, you couldn't possibly take Charwolf at that price with those, two genuine weight for age superstars. And Charwolf, what he did last preparation, that's probably the right price. But I think he's priced to that. Like, he's not priced to where he's at now. Like, you shouldn't be expected to take that price off what he's done. And you can factor in all those bits and pieces, as Louis suggested. But just going through the meeting now, like, there was one winner in lane 2 in the first tenderize. Then it was basically lanes 4 to 9, sort of providing the winners. They went slow. I get that. But I would have thought that would be a pretty good platform to go 15 to 2,000, Dino. Like, that's a 500 meter gap. I actually don't think he would have wanted it any quicker. It's not like an ideal setup. And then you just have a look at the horses that he beat, and you just kind of think to yourself, gee whiz, like, what prices are Just Fine or an Our Gold Hope or a Palmetto?
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
It's funny. Like, you could sort of forecast sharp improvement. Like, if he gets dry track, speed on, full fitness now, you can like sort of tack on. But then you look at it the other way, and VR, Dubai, they're all in a similar boat. So I can see him running nearly as good as his King Charles run. But in saying that, is that good enough to win this race? I'm not sure.
Let's have a look. So might as well spend a little bit of time on the race. It's an interesting race. So he's produced a decent figure, like a weight for age 100. There's using top rates sort of figures here last Tuesday. So we could probably suggest conservatively, Dino, that and Louis, that maybe we can get him back to his King Charles where he was a 104. But everything has to go right for him to get back to that. So that's close to 2 lengths. Even then, is that 104 figure? I don't think that's in front of Light Infantry Man.
No,
it's not in front of.
No,
it's not in front of Dubai.
This is kind of the same thing that was happening with Switzerland. Is that everyone looks at that one big spike and you go, well, if he runs that, he can win. Like, but you've got to.
But one was $16 and one's $9. That's
correct. It's not
the difference.
Yeah, I just cannot have Chowolf in this.
Yeah, happy to oppose. And look, if you get beaten, like, full credit to Joe Pride and
absolutely.
Well done. The horse had a mixed preparation as well, so it'd be just a remarkable.
If it wins, it'll be one of the great training performances, like without a doubt.
Dubai on top for me, just purely at the price. I think it's pretty obvious who wins the race, but Dubai on at the price. VSSN should win the race, but Dubai on at the price. I think if something goes wrong, or if they draw 1, 2, or 3, and they end up back midfield last in a horrible spot, and Aussie Tom draws 5, 6 and can keep J-Mac in a pocket, definitely beatable. And I'd love to see Light Infantry Man come out and repeat that figure, because if he repeats that figure, he now stamps himself as one of the best weight for age runners in the country. And it'd be bloody great to have another one, because it's a little thin. It's a little thin. Yeah. Right, Sydney Cup, 3,200 metres. I'm really impressed with this race this year. I think in previous years we've had Sydney Cups where we just go, next. I really like this race. I'm not sure what you boys feel about it. We'll go through the market in a second, have a chat. But Alicant's $2.50, Zardozi $8, Circle of Fire, Duke de Sessa 11s, Birdman 13, River of Stars 13, Arapaho 15s, Longer the rest. Louis, the Sydney Cup.
Yeah, I don't have a play in this race, so I'll keep it short. I just think off Athabascan's kind of that progressive. Alicant. I'm going to get them up. Same stage.
I thought your internet was better. It's worse.
Rating well on the up. Is it?
Yeah,
you're not too bad.
Anyway, you've got all Anna and Elsa on us and Frozen.
I don't have a play in this anyway.
Oh, good.
I don't have a play in this anyway, so just give it to Dino.
I'm just waiting. Is he going to get Alicant's going to get a penalty for Saturday? I'm assuming he will. I know he got a penalty last start. I don't know if they're going to tack on another one from that performance.
I can't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. So he's got 52 kilos, Zardozi 53. They're the key chances. Duke de Sessa 56.5 and Arapaho 56. Outside of that, I don't think there's many more chances. I do consider it is a good race.
They've got him here with 52, Dino, with a 2 kilo penalty added, and that was
last week. Yeah,
the 25th of March. So it hasn't been updated.
Nah, because I'm guessing ratings or whatever they sort of do, or what they sort of get the penalty off, sort of hasn't come through.
Assume 56 or 57. 54.
Yeah, that's
54 kilos, I would assume.
So that's something to take into account. Zardozi, interesting to see. Jamie got off last start, or whoever got off last start just said it's screaming out for 2 miles. So that's something to note. If you reference the Melbourne Cup run, that was outstanding. Going to get the weight on Alicant, so that is something also to take into account. So I think it's a 2-horse race between those two. How hard is it to lead over 3,200? That's the query, I think, somewhat with Alicant's. I know did it on the weekend, did it outstandingly. Quick back up again, everything tick, tick, tick. Where Zardozi draws is everything. I think everything for the race. If she draws wide, she's going to give that horse 5-6 lengths, I think it's advantage to the front runner. So no bet for me, but I think it's a cracking 2-horse race. And at the market at the moment, I think you could have a small bet on Zardozi, $8 compared to $2.50. Gonna. When
was the last time Zardozi won? Would have been when you had your first dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Been a while.
Yep. I know.
Been a while. Let's have a look. Far Lap Stakes.
So you better bring that up.
Last year.
I was on Zardozi in that Australian Cup. I thought I jumped on at the perfect time. Fourth up, gave it all that push, and it couldn't run past the winner. Winner ran past it. Is that just Jamie Carr getting off and, of course, saying it's looking for 3,200 metres because it was just plugged away over 2,000 metres? You're obviously not going to go say, we'll go back to the mile with it. I don't know.
It's a natural option, though, isn't it, to go here? Like, it's a natural progression.
Yeah.
I actually just think she needs the sting out of the ground. That's what I think she needs.
Which she's not going to get.
She won't get. No. Interesting race. I thought River of Stars was... I think it's a great platform building run for the Sydney Cup. I think it was an ideal ride in a Tancred. But drops 5.5. What have I got here? 5 kilos. So I think that horse will be very competitive and you're getting a decent enough price. And Athabascan's one I've had on my side the whole time, but inconclusive on Saturday. Birdman was really impressive on Saturday. I thought his work was quite good, but she's pretty good, Alicante, isn't she? So she might be hard to beat. We'll have something small. We'll have something to place Birdman. We'll have something to place River of Stars, and maybe something very small. Both those horses to win.
It's interesting, Gunno. Like we mentioned Light Infantry, man. She was only beaten 2.5 lengths by him. Like if he. It's going to be too late to figure it out on Saturday, but like if he comes out and stamps himself, and how grouse does that form look? You know what I mean? Somewhat.
Yeah, this is the great mystery of the punt, though. Like,
it's funny, isn't it?
It also doesn't surprise. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Light Infantry come out and run top 3 and be awesome, and her still can run 5th.
Yeah, it's like they're all tipping at the moment, isn't it?
You know, like it's just
Dragons beat Storm, and then Dragons get done by Eels the next week. There's that sort of setup, isn't it?
It's like, and exactly right. And we talked about this before. I can't remember what I was saying, but you see like the number 1 tennis seed get knocked off, and then by some like 64, some bloke ranked 64 in the world, then the old mate 64 turns up against 144 and gets knocked off, and you just think, what is going on? What a world. Anyway, speaking of what a world, Australian Oaks, treasure of the moment. Well, she was okay. I'm not sure if she relished the rain effect.
Heavy track.
Yeah.
Had to be, right? Yeah.
$1.70. Aliana would absolutely brain her, but most likely won't be lining up. $4.50. Like a Lucy, $6. Verona Rose, $6. Belle de Tel, sessionally like freakish. They went slow, but still very good. Benegal, $8 moving out. I'll throw over to you here, Louis, the Australian Oaks. I know you're a big fan. There's a bit of Melbourne flavour about this horse.
Mm-hmm. Sure am. Vinrock last week. Thanks for coming.
Hey, well done. It's good. Is that your first winner of the season?
You can't even give me a wrap.
Fair dinkum. Let's go back and count the tape. First few weeks of this season, I was on fire, I'm pretty sure.
You would have had... That's why you got a broken wrist, because you're too busy carrying us.
Yeah.
Let's set the landscape, Louis. Sorry to interrupt you, mate, but you did send the boys a group chat, and Dino and I both completely ignored you.
Just ignored it, yeah.
And
I was searching for something. I was filthy, yeah. Searching for something. I sent a question about the track, got nothing. Then Vinrock loved it, tipped at $8, got nothing. I was just throwing bait out there, seeing if anyone would come back.
I love it. We just let it go. That's beautiful.
Yeah, through to the keeper it went. You said you were playing soccer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 4-2, Bjordy.
You're in the marquee, mate.
Nah, not me.
So you're right. If Aliana showed up, it's a genuine race. She likely doesn't come. This New Zealand, or you saw in the derby, this is a huge ask for them in their first preparation, even off all these winning streaks, to come over here, line up against Treasure of the Moment, who's just been outstanding, and for us to think that the New Zealand horse can beat ours. I think the way this is shaping, she could jump $1.40 again.
Yeah,
Treasure of the Moment. I just can't see how she gets out much. You're right. The last start wasn't outstanding, but there was big margins through the field, and I just don't think she loved the heavy track. She's much more at home on top of the ground. So with everything going right, she being well, the ground being dry, and Aliana not being there, something would have to go terribly wrong, or something would be wrong if you see even running and above. You'd be getting very nervous, going, well, "What do they know that we don't?" But I don't see how anything beats her here.
Dana?
Yeah, I'm desperate, Aliana, to turn up. I obviously not going to bet all in because I'm not sure what Chris is going to do. Did you interview him this morning, Gunnar, at all? I know you were out there.
No, he walked straight past me like I was painted on.
Yeah, well, so I don't want to get walled, but I think she is she a better horse than Treasure at the moment?
Yes.
Off that win on the weekend, yes.
Clearly.
I know she won last start, Treasure at the moment. I know it was on a heavy deck, but that was not convincing at all. I think maybe if she's just an out-and-out dry tracker, that she just did that purely on class, then. But she's got to improve again here, I think, to be winning this race. If Aliana turns up, I think she could potentially even start close to favourite in this race.
I don't think she will, Dino. The gut feel this morning, the word was that it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But it's a good talking point because I think you're spot on. I think that Aliana is clearly the best 2,000 plus horse, 3-year-old, filly, 3-year-old in the country.
Yeah.
And maybe with a bit of luck, maybe even a mile. But anyway, we'll worry about that in the spring.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. They might even figure that out with Treasure at the moment. Is she just an out-and-out sort of... I know she won an Oaks, but she could be a better, shorter distance horse. Hard race to bet into this far. I want to see the final field, Gunner. So, but queries out somewhat at that price on Treasure at the moment for me.
I'll take her on.
See, I like this.
I'll take her on, and purely because I think that she's a superstar, and I don't know how many superstars we see that are like great over that longer distance. Aliana might be just a freak. I think that she will be a freak, so she might be the one that sort of ticks that box, I should say. But over 2,400 meters, I'm going to lean the way of two horses, Belle de Tell and Yu Wang. Quick backups. Yu Wang was a slow enough speed, but Belle de Tell was super. Some of the best closing sectionals of the day. Yu Wang was probably exposed a little too early. I would have thought. I would have loved to see it being held up for another 200 meters because I think it should have been super. And I think Belle de Tell was just very, very impressive as well. Polymnia in that race wasn't bad, but I don't think should be going around. So I'm just going to have something very small on those two horses with the hope that Treasure at the moment just finds these horses that are just a little bit older, 6 months older, bit more mature, and actual genuine 2,400 meter horses, where in the spring there wasn't many genuine 2,400 meters horses to line up against. Does that make sense, lads? Pretty weak. 2,000 plus for the 3-year-olds in the spring is pretty weak, but now I think they're a little bit older and a little bit tougher. So Belle de Tell, $8. Yu Wang, $26 if you don't mind. That price differential is too significant as well. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Queen of the Turf Stakes, Fangirl. J-Mac back in town. Let's get you a market. 230 Fangirl, a tissue, 450 Steffi Magnetica. Maybe $6. Doubt she'd be $6 if she lines up.
Hammered in that market too.
Doubt she'd be $6 if she lines up. Lazura. Oh, how far last start? Please don't do it to me. $8. Amelia's Jewel. Oh, she's $11. Pride of Jenny. God knows, $11. DeClenchi Boulevard, $15. We've gone far too far down the list anyway here, Dino.
Yeah, best all in play weekend. Oh my gosh,
you're right, mate. Have another go.
Best all in play of the weekend, Fangirl. Yeah, said I laid her last start, and that I cannot complain about anything for the rest of the spring because she should have bolted in 3 wide the trip a day. You couldn't find the fence. We referenced that form on the weekend.
Yeah,
Briasa is probably case in point. What he didn't really get close to him. That could have been the run of the day. She turns up here, she wins the race. Only kryptonite for her is if Pride of Jenny turns up and makes it 15 lengths out in front and keeps going or something like that. I think then you counter that J-Max on. And interesting this preparation, boys, she's shown tactical speed. I've never seen her so close in all of her runs. So that's intriguing for me. Sometimes we see horses, the older they get, the further and further they get back in the ruck. She's gone the opposite. She's sort of somehow taught herself. So not much more to add, but I think she's a cracking bet here, Lou.
Yep, you're reading my notes, Dino. She's my best all-in of the weekend as well. Everything you said, 3 wide, no cover, should have won. Ran Via Sistina to a long neck start before, bolted in first up. She's flying, comes into this 4th up. to a mile. She's got the map position over a tissue. I will say for a tissue, the 2,000 back to a mile is certainly her strength. She's got very good form doing that, but she will likely be behind Fangirl in the run, and I don't know in that the form Fangirl's in that a tissue could run over the top. Missoura, you're right, so unlucky, but that emancipation form is not this form that we're talking about here at the top. And if Amelia's Jewel wins, well, it won't be with mine. I think she can't win this race. And then the rest of them they don't hold a candle to the two at the top. So this is a very easy bet to have, I think, with Fangirl.
Yeah, it's a Group 1 race. And, no knock on Pride of Jenny, Amelia's Jewel, and those, and a tissue. But Fangirl is like top 5 Group 1 weight for age horses in this country. So I think she turns up and she wins, barring a complete and utter disaster. Do you want to take $2.30 now, or do you just want to take $2.10 on Wednesday? You do you. But she's the best all-in play. I think 100%. She wins.
Yeah.
What I will say going on with that is Steffi doesn't accept and Pride of Jenny doesn't accept. She could dead set start $1.50. She probably will if they don't accept in this race.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make, Dino. Maybe have half on now, half later.
Or good point, Lou,
has been hammered in that market. So
it's so Bjorn. It's so Air Bjorn to just back her up.
Yeah.
I thought she'd go to the all age. I thought that'd be a good race for her. Gap between runs back to 14. Anyway, and the good point with a tissue, Lou, I think she should have bolted in this race last year, back to this distance off 2,000, and I think Zugotcha got all favoured. This thing was straight up. So.
Yep.
Righto, boys. Well, Dino, you went first, so you can have Fangirl. Louis, you need another all-in best bet, please.
I'll go Light Infantryman a place.
Yep. Beldertel, the place for me, Australian Oaks. Light Infantry, Beldertel, Fangirl. They're your 3. Let us know who wins the, we'll go with the Queen Elizabeth Stakes in the comments and why, and you'll go in the chance to win the multi in the duck race, the famous duck race. We've got 2 more episodes to go, lads. Actually, I think we might have 1 more episode to go of the year. If you've got a midweek best bet, or should we just put that on the YouTube?
I'll find one.
I have one tomorrow at Goulburn. I will be betting race 4, number 3, Twinkling Star will be winning, and race 1, number 5, Son of Rubik will be winning. They're both $2.
Couple of declarations from our man. Love that. If you want Dean stuff, deanwelling.com. Easy as that. Lewis, Morning Line, STC, Sky Thoroughbred Central. You'll just be dominating proceedings. Anything else you're on this week?
Yeah, Golden Easter Egg Finals, Wenny Park, Saturday night, boys. Let's get out there.
Is there a tip, Lou?
Nah, not yet. Box draw on Tuesday. Very, very important. Tuesday night.
Okay. You lost me at Golden Easter Egg. Lads, it's been a pleasure. We'll be back for All Age Stakes Day and a review of Day 2 of the Championships.